Welcome to another episode of A Grain of Salt. I am your host, Wild Bill, and I've been thinking about it. I have no idea where I could put a band in here. So, if you can think of anything, maybe one of y'all would like to ride around with me and y'all could sing when we open up an episode. How about that? But last statement I made was Jesus illustrates what he says, what he teaches, with actual illustration, with actual physical reality of that coming to pass, right? That is a principle that he set up, and it will be that way in the future. Everything he said is coming to pass. And I thought of a few examples. You remember, one of them was in John chapter 6, I believe it was. He said, I am the bread of life. Remember that? He fed the 5,000 in that chapter. And it was probably closer to 25,000, counting the women and the children. But he said, I'm the bread of life. Right? And he fed them. And another one is where he said in John chapter 8, he said, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness, but have the light of life. Remember that? And then the very next chapter, the man who had been born blind, he gave him light. Proves it out, right? And then, of course, the big one, the major, the crescendo of the miracles that he performed on other people, other than himself, was the resurrection of Lazarus. He made a statement to Martha. He said, I am the resurrection and the life. You remember that? And then he raises Lazarus from the dead. Lazarus, come forth. So, here's one I want to bring out for us for today. For us to look forward to in the future of the way things are. Part of this he's already accomplished and is accomplishing even as we speak and as we move around in this life. John chapter 5, I think starts somewhere around 25, and I wrote some of this down, and I think I can do some of it from memory, but I may have to stop. But remember, we talked about this when we was over in John chapter 5. He said, truly, truly, I say to you. I got to make a turn right here. Pay attention real quick. Truly, truly, I say to you. He said, an hour is coming, and now is when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God. And those who hear will live. Well, John chapter 10 tells us what that means right there. John chapter 10, somewhere around verse 27, he says, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. Verse 28 says, and I give them eternal life. So he's explaining John chapter 5, verse 25. He said, so what that's talking about there to me is salvation. When the dead, those who are dead in their trespasses, he said the hour is coming, and now is. It is taking place as he speaks, right? The dead are hearing his voice as he's speaking right now. And his sheep are coming out of the sheepfolds of the world and receiving that eternal life as they believe, as they act on what he's saying right now. And that's happening today. The dead are hearing his voice all the time, those who are dead in trespasses. Then he goes on, he says, for just as the Father has life in himself, even so he gave to the Son also to have life in himself. So Jesus can give life to all those who call upon his name. He has life in himself. And, you know, no, I won't go that direction. Never mind. But he said, he goes to another sort of understanding of what he's going to do in the future. Now that's what he's doing now. He's giving life to the dead, as they call them. In the future, on Judgment Day now, he jumps ahead and he's talking about the first part of that. He's talking about those who are his sheep, that hear his voice, that come out of the sheepfold of the world, rescued from the false teaching. This one, where he goes to verse 27, I think it is, he said, and he gave him authority to execute judgment because he is the Son of Man. To do what? He said, do not marvel at this, for an hour is coming. He didn't say, and now is, but he's looking into the future. He says, an hour is coming in which all who are in the tombs, all those who are dead and have been dead, will hear his voice. It's like every knee will bow, every tongue confess. That's going to happen. But he says everybody who's in the tomb is going to hear his voice in the future, because judgment has been given to him. And they will come forth. All of them that's in the tombs are going to come forth. When? On Judgment Day. And those who did good deeds, they will come forth to a resurrection of life. And those who did evil deeds, they will come forth to a resurrection of death. So the dead are hearing his voice today and coming out of their death of their works. They have an opportunity to hear the gospel, and they believe, and they are given eternal life. And then there are those who are not of his sheep that are included in hearing his voice, but that's at the end, right? Resurrection. So, pretty interesting stuff. Boy, I tell you what, it seems like the book of John is just full of theological truth. Every chapter seems to, he's teaching doctrine that we need to know that'll help us. Give to the widows, the orphans, and the poor. Take care of them. What if it was you and me? Take everything I say with a grain of salt. If you got any comments, please leave them. I could be wrong about anything I say. And I'm not saying that smugly. I mean it. I mean it. I am willing to admit it when I receive correction from him, because he is the one that I'm seeking to please. I love you. Bye-bye.